just spell it out very briefly. Are you saying that our politicians are counterproductive?
Our politicians need to be put in a room and told that they have produced a miserable situation that is not worthy of the young people that hold them responsible for their fate. It is not a good thing, and I believe that the conversation about our politics has to be a conversation around the quality of politics that we play on our continent.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bhatia. Exactly. And in fact, there's a UN report, but it's a bit of an old report, but nonetheless still valid. It found that 40% of young people who had joined rebel movements, militant groups, or criminal gangs, 40% of those young recruits said they did it because they had no jobs. When you are idle, when you're unemployed, you get swayed.
Yes.
So how much more of a problem are we going to experience?
We're going to experience much more of it until we fix it. Problems are not, what do you call it? They're not rocket science. The good thing for Africa is that we actually find examples of countries and continents that have been down our path. But what did it take to solve it? We now understand some critical factors that go together to create growth. In all our conversation, I want us to take one thing away. We're not going to find band-aids as solutions because they don't last. We need real structural change. Structural change of our economy, structural change of our political landscape. And so what it means is we have to be more deliberate and intentional about what we're saying on our streets. And we're not being that. You know what we're being? We're having good, normal situation conversations.
Yeah.
And that's very unhealthy because that's like playing the ostrich.
Yeah.
The young people that are out there are very angry, extremely angry. And they do not in any way differentiate between you, Loretta, me, and the billionaire Jimovia. The fact that you have any opportunity at all on the continent means that you are in trouble. So what we therefore must avert our minds to is how do we expand the opportunities? If you looked at all the sectors of comparative advantage for Africa, why is it that we have failed to take the very tough measures of the kinds of policies that would jumpstart those sectors?
Yeah.
That's where the opportunities will come from. But what gets in the way? Bad politics. Our politicians live for themselves. Let's call a spade, not an agricultural implement. We have a problem of politics on our continent. We have a problem of bad leadership on our continent. We should not in any way hide it any further.
Right.
We must solve this problem ourselves.
Today, youth unemployment is one of the most pressing challenges in Africa. According to the World Bank, youth makes up 60% of all Africa's unemployed. Over the next 3 decades, about 15 to 20 million young people will reach working age each year, but the lack of proper jobs will increase the unemployment rate every year. Given this, there is an urgent need for an ecosystem that can offer quality jobs as well as matching skills. This is something very important that the continent officials should be able to review, as this is not going to go anywhere soon. In general, looking at the different regions within the continent, there is a mismatch between the supply of the demand for skills, the lack of decent and sustainable jobs, as well as private sector investment in different areas, and high unemployment rates among youths, specifically young women as well. As part of this, the trend would continue and the challenges will also impact the different areas that are necessary to move forward. Due to the lack of the proper training and also completion rate, the majority of youths in the African regions need to work in different informal sectors, and especially in agriculture. They do not have the particular skills, but those who have the required skills don't find the proper jobs that could lead them to actually actually exercise their skills and their own career objectives and their professional dreams. The young people in Africa are confronted with multiple challenges ranging from economies that grew but could not create sufficient jobs prior to the global financial and economic crisis to sluggish growth post the crisis currently, and looking at the COVID situation that arises in different areas in terms of job creation. Africa is the only region where the youth bulge would continue to grow in the foreseeable future, presenting both an opportunity to reap the demographic dividends and also the imminent threat that if this particular social cohesion as well as massive migration in search of opportunities, if appropriate policies are not being implemented to harness this divide that is currently going on, which is of importance to the continent to take advantage of this massive population to create a huge opportunity for itself and to become even more competitive. In looking at this, it's an urgent need for the continent officials to drive growth.
We've come to discuss about promising the future. What does the future look like as we see it going forward? The future is the fourth industrial revolution and that which will come immediately after it. So we're talking of an Africa and young people who are going to be thrown, and in fact already thrown, into a future that's made up of the AIs of this world, artificial intelligence, the robotics, Internet of Things. They are in the world, an ecosystem where it is about blockchain technologies and all the machine learning and the algorithms and things that are totally way off the kind of education that we are offering them. So we are talking about a pool of people. You said 12 million do enter the labor market every year. I need you to know that only 10% of the 12 million would find anything that is defined as decent jobs according to ILO. Now, if only 10% would find those jobs, and we've got this 90% that are on the margins of society, that is the issue of governance for us. We must look at the failure of governance to actually have the right kinds of policies that lead to growth. The growth that is diversified, the growth that is inclusive. And at the heart of this is what kind of education system, what kind of skills are we emphasizing, what kind of economic opportunities. You know, the great issue for us is that we have seen that if a sector actually gets the right kinds of policies, telecommunication, it changes slightly the structure of the African economy. We have understood that. So what is it about our wacky politics on this continent that's making us have people who are comfortable enough to watch the growth of the number of people that are on the margins of economic possibilities? That's the conversation. And I think that at the heart of it is that politics trumps economy on our continent, and that's a dangerous thing.
So I'd like you to...
There are two economies traveling on their respective tracks and somehow never meeting. And the real challenge is that political expediency is keeping your politicians from taking the right kinds of measures that are necessary to make this economy as productive and competitive as it should be. The opportunities are incredible. There's so much to leverage on. What is it that we know grows economies and expands opportunities? We know that if you have the sound policies, you're good. We know that if you have strong institutions and regulatory systems, you're good. We know that if you invest effectively and efficiently in the public goods that represent basic services delivery to citizens and to business, you're good. We know these three things. We know that economies that are enviable today, which used to be lower in GDP per capita compared to South Africa, take a China. A China went from where it was less than $1 trillion of GDP to $14 trillion of GDP. For goodness sake, we know that just embracing the basic principles of the markets and allowing the markets to set the incentive for the business.
But the question many will ask is that, are the African youths ready? Are they prepared? Is their education system prepared them for the jobs of the 21st century? All of the AI, all of the skills needed to tackle the challenges that the global job requirements will need them to perform based on those different experience. How is the educational system? How is the trainings that they come out with from the institutions that they're coming from? Are they able to apply that into the current jobs that will be created? Are the institutions prepared to prepare those young professionals and young Africans to be able to engage with the level of skills that is needed? All of this need to be addressed because it's just so vital to tackle those different problems. But again, those who are working should have the required skills. The high level and to carry out the sustainability to address these particular employment challenges Africa is facing, particularly for the youth, and reap the demographic dividends. Concerted efforts are needed to implement and also carry out appropriate and customized mix of pro-employment policies, programs at macro, sectoral and also labor market level, with a strong emphasis on the demand side to support structural transformation while paying attention to disadvantaged groups in the labor market. All of these are important things. Of course, their focus should be in different areas. For example, to equip potential employers or employees with skills that match the future demands of employers, or support starting a business themselves, such as career skills and also entrepreneurial skills. The main features is to strengthen motivations and also perseverance to make people resilience to inevitable setbacks that happens within the region. Another thing that they can do is to strengthen the growth expectations of employers by defining skills for development of the companies and skills for development of the human capital. Instead of focusing on the level of education, employers should look at the skills and competencies of those different applicants or the young professionals. This is experienced as an important component to boost sectors and also value. Something else they could do is to proper match the individuals to jobs based on competencies. This reverse approach is innovative, and also it's the way the labor market works and could increase the chances of unemployment for those young professionals who are actually looking for jobs to get into the different labor market. All of these are things that need to be addressed to make sure that the African youths are at the center of the debate, which they have never been before. So hopefully this has been something that we'll be able to implement within the continent. Hopefully we've been able to inform you with regards to the challenges that the African youths faced, and these particular issues is not going to go anywhere. We are looking to see how this could be addressed, considering the current challenges that COVID has come in to slow down the African economies. But again, if the proper policies are put in place, everything's going to work for the benefits of the African youth. Thank you very much. We're looking forward to meeting you in our next episode. Have a good day. Bye-bye.